Matter of Life and Death. So, A Matter of Life and Death is Iron Maiden's second most recent album, released back in 2006, which is about 7 to 6 years ago, which is quite a long time span just for their second most recent album. Um, like other bands could be releasing like 3 to 4 albums in that time span, but this is only their second most recent album, so yeah, that's a pretty long time. So I think this is one of the first artwork covers that I've seen Iron Maiden take on a more like modern warfare sort of sound. Of course, they dealt with the themes of warfare, but like in a more old-fashioned sense, like the Trooper once again. Yeah, that's like, more old-fashioned and stuff. Here you're seeing more modern day uniforms. You see like the big tank right there. Even though it looks more like World War II era or something like that, more relatively more modern than what you saw on like the Trooper and all that. Well, granted, Aces High right here, that's like World War II era. That has to do with like the British invasion. But I digress. Let's talk about the music. So you can consider this to be like Bruce Dickinson's X Factor, so to speak. It's not quite as like dim and quiet as X Factor, but it definitely takes a much bleaker overall sound than the previous two albums or anything done with Bruce Dickinson in the past ever. I think this is the darkest album they've ever done with Bruce Dickinson at vocals. Now let's go through the track listing once again. The first song, Different World, is I actually really do enjoy this opener way more than I do Wildest Dreams from the previous album. I think the lyrics are much more potent, and musically itself, it's very, very good, very solid opening number. It gets me on the right note every time. The second song is These Colors Don't Run, which was inspired by the infamous 2005 egg incident for Ozfest. This was notorious. This was really bad. If anyone didn't have as much credibility, or if everyone didn't think Ozfest didn't have really all that much credibility to begin with, then this is where like almost everyone would lose all hope, all faith in Ozfest. Definitely, they wouldn't give Ozfest any more respect if they ever did before, because this was really bad. Just because Bruce Dickinson made a comment saying, "Oh, Ozzy Osbourne's using autotune, that's really stupid and fucking lame." Yeah, he's just because that he's right, because autotune's stupid, and to think that one of like the key principal members of the early heavy metal movement would move on to make such crap shit albums like fucking Scream or whatever the fuck that album was. That was awful. And using the more modern mainstream techniques of recording. Yeah, Bruce Dickinson did not agree with that, and he was right to speak out. And Sharon Osbourne, and she's just a fucking cunt who basically sabotaged Iron Maiden's performance while they were doing the Trooper. She had her minions just throw a bunch of eggs on stage, and that's what inspired them to write this song. And yeah, I definitely when I heard about that, I definitely lost all credibility with Ozfest with me, and the song itself is really good, and the message itself is very strong. These colors don't fucking run. So yeah, a very solid song, very potent message indeed. The next song is Brighter Than a Thousand Suns. At first, I didn't really care as much for it before. Then, for a period, I absolutely adored it. Now, I don't love it quite as much, but still pretty good. Still pretty fun song to spin through, like whenever I'm listening to this album. So yeah, still like it. The Pilgrim is probably one of the more forgettable songs on this album, but whenever I listen to the song, I always have a really good time listening to it. I really do like the lyrics on here. Uh, the chorus itself is very good. Um, yeah, I don't really have as much to say about it, but I still really like it. The Longest Day. At first, I didn't really care for it all that much, but my love for this song has really grown throughout my years as an Iron Maiden fan. And um, believe it or not, it's actually one of the first like more modern day Iron Maiden songs I've heard, next to Reincarnation of Benjamin Brake, which I'll talk about in a little bit. In fact, I think this is my first modern day Iron Maiden album. Like the first Iron Maiden album I've heard that they made after Bruce Dickinson's and Adrian Smith's reunion with the band. Yeah, the first album they made since then that I've heard from them personally. Uh, but yeah, The Longest Day, really, really amazing song. It has an amazing build up. The chorus is just very, very strong, and the solo itself, it is definitely a really, really good one. I definitely love this song. Out of the Shadows is the ballad of the album, essentially. I love the acoustic guitar usage on here. I think there were like some bird fluttering samples, and like just before like the second verse, you like just right after the first chorus, I think you kind of hear like a bird fluttering noise somewhere. I think that's a nice little touch, and it definitely fits in nicely. Um, and yeah, I love the chorus is probably the best part of the song overall. And again, it's a very top-notch performance by Mr. Dickinson, and it actually reminds me quite a bit of one of his solo songs, which is Tears of the Dragon from his Balls to Picasso album, which is a fantastic song, one of the best he's ever taken part in, whether it be solo or Iron Maiden, whatever. That song's phenomenal, and this song really reminds me of that. Like, some of the melodies are very similar, and the way he sings it's very similar, although he wrote this song, or he sang Out of the Shadows. Oh, what do you know? He actually did write it. He wrote this song 12 years after Tears of the Dragon, and you could see he's aged, but really, really good song. Love this one. The next song is Reincarnation Benjamin Brigg. I think this is probably the first Iron Maiden song, like post reunion, that I've ever heard, and it still remains to be like in the top 20 for favorite Iron Maiden songs. It's a really, really good one. The introduction it's haunting. If you ever want to know what desolation and just a bitter coldness felt like in like melodic musical terms, then listen to the introduction of the Reincarnation of Benjamin Brigg. That's like the melodic metal form of just pure like isolation and just um, loss of hope. Um, yeah, the song overall fantastic. It's my favorite song on the album. Enough said. The next song is another really good one. It's called For the Greater Good of God. Um, at first, I thought it was going to be like a super religious song or anything like that, but not at all. I think it has more to do with why do people use religion as an excuse to just fight with each other. There's no point in doing that. Just live and let live. You don't need to use religion as a means of justifying um, you wanting to conquer lands and take over other peoples and tribes and all that. But yeah, I think the message here is very, very good. And the song itself is killer, of course. Great, great song. The next song is Lord of Light. Eh, it's okay. The introduction is really, really cool, but as the song goes on, it doesn't really click with me all that much. Not as much as a lot of the other songs do, but I still like it. It's fairly decent, for sure. And the next song is The Legacy, the last song of the album. This is one of their proggiest songs to date. Definitely a lot of acoustic guitar usage throughout the first half of the song. It's quite an epic too. It's 9 minutes 20 seconds. It's not as long as For the Greater Good of God, which is 9 minutes 24 seconds. It's just 4 seconds shy of that. But The Legacy, it's probably one of the proggiest songs on this album. The melodies kind of remind me of like a morbidly depressed Genesis or something like that. And like the heavier parts that come in later on, it's probably Iron Maiden at like their most emotionally brutal. And yeah, it's another standout on this album, and I really, really loved what they did with it. It's just a fantastic song and a great closer to this album. Um, some Iron Maiden fans sort of complain that it's a bit too long and it's a bit too proggy, but Iron Maiden's experimenting with a more experimental structure, and let Iron Maiden do their thing. They're doing some great things here, and I highly encourage all the experimentation that they're doing, and it shows in songs like The Legacy that they're really doing something right here. Legacy, fantastic song too, and a very, very strong album. I would have to give this about an 8.5. Yeah, about an 8.5 out of 10, and nearly a notch below the X Factor. But yes, really strong album. Their second best of the 2000s, in my opinion. A lot of killer songwriting here, and some of their most proggiest compositions to date. This could basically be considered the X Factor for Bruce Dickinson. Blaze Bayley got to do X Factor. Now Bruce Dickinson, the classic singer, has his shot at it at a more darker sound, and they pull it off very well here. And thank you very much for watching again, and now we'll be moving on to the final installment of the Iron Maiden series. Well, for now at least, the final frontier.